When a relationship ends, whether we decided to end it ourselves or the other party put an end to it, and whatever the relationship is, whether it is romantic, platonic, friendship, it can happen that when we look back on that relationship, we think that we wasted our time. We think that we wasted months, sometimes years, getting involved in that relationship. We think that, or we feel, should I say, that there was nothing for us there. And I'm here to tell you that nothing could be further from the truth. Because the reason why we can think that way, the reason why we can feel that, is because we are listening to our ego that is telling us that what happens in our life is senseless, meaningless, when everything that is happening to you is actually happening for you. Meaning, everything that happens to you in your life is orchestrated, if you will, by the higher self, God, source, call it whatever you want. And so everything that is happening to you is happening thanks to source, and is happening when you are supposed to experience that thing thanks to divine timing. And so everything that is happening to you by the higher self, source, God, in divine timing, is happening to you because there is something for you to understand. There is a lesson hidden in the circumstance, the event, the person you are dealing with, that you have to dig up, that you have to acknowledge, recognize, and then, once you understand the lesson, you have to learn it and apply it to your life. And so every single thing that is happening to you, but in this video I will stay focused on relationship, every single time you enter a kind of relationship, it is because the person you are entering the relationship with appeared in your life to teach you something. Of course, most of the time it is unconscious. They have no idea that they are teaching you something. They are teaching you something. Just like you have no idea when it is the other way around, you are teaching something to someone. You don't know you are doing it. But because of divine timing, because of source, you two met. And because you met, you two have something to learn from each other. And so when you are in a relationship and the relationship ends for whatever reason, it behooves you to turn a deaf ear to the ego that is trying to tell you that you wasted your time, you wasted months, you wasted years with that person. And try to see what the lesson that you were supposed to learn was, learn it, and apply it to your life. Now, the reason why your ego will tell you that you wasted time and there is nothing for you to learn out of that relationship is because the more you think that, the less you are inclined to, of course, look for the lesson. And every single time you learn a lesson in life, it makes you a better person, a better version of yourself, if you will. And as you learn those lessons, you move further along your spiritual path, whether you realize it or not. And as you move further along your spiritual path, you come this much closer to spiritual awakening, which is remembering who you are. That is each and every one of us. That is a drop of source, God, the higher self, call it whatever you want, unconditional love, if you will, that chose to incarnate itself in each and every one of us in this 3D material world in order to experience what this world has to offer. And when you do that, you realize that your ego is not the master, that your ego is the tool, that you are the master, and the ego is just a tool that helps you navigate this 3D world of ours, but should stay a tool and should never be the master and you the slave. And so every single time you learn a lesson, you get this much closer to spiritual awakening, remembering who you are, that is, putting the ego back in its place. And that is why when there are lessons in your life, and especially big lessons in your life, and oftentimes big lessons are learned in relationships, especially when they end, your ego will try to make you not look for the lesson because it is a big lesson. And again, the more lessons you learn, the more you get closer to spiritual awakening, and the more you get this much closer to putting the ego back in its place. And so, if you will, the ego is just acting out of survival, because it knows that if you learn this big lesson, then its position as a master and you the slave is in jeopardy. And the ego doesn't want to be in jeopardy. The ego wants to stay the master and you the slave forever. So when a relationship ends, and especially when it is a very painful one, it behooves you not to give the ego too much importance, because the ego will tell you that this person was, a very bad person to you, and they treated you so unfairly, unkindly, they hurt you, and there was absolutely nothing there for you, and you were used, and you wasted months and years with that person. Try as much as you can, and God knows, it's at least I know, but we are all gods, right? So I guess God knows it is really hard to do that. But turn a deaf ear to what your ego is telling you, and remember that even in the most hurtful situation, hurtful breakups, heartaches, especially in those, there is a huge lesson for you to learn that, if you do learn and apply to your life, will make you a better person. You will get this much closer to spiritual awakening. And that is a very optimistic view. You can decide to, embrace, if you will, when every single time a relationship ends in your life and it is painful. Know that the pain is just the coat that is covering the lesson. So ignore the pain as much as you can, or remove the pain as much as you possibly can, and dig up the lesson, dig up the treasure that is the lesson that you have to learn and apply to your life. And you will see that everything that is happening to you in your life is happening for you, in order for you to learn lessons and to become the best version of yourself. And that nothing that is happening to you is senseless. Nothing that is happening to you is meaningless. There is always a reason as to why you entered this or that relationship and this or that relationship ended. It is for you to find it. It is for you to become a better person thanks to it. And if I can do it, and I could do it, anybody can.